Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. You remember that African American spiritual song that arose out of the culture of slavery? Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. I've spoken before about the fragility of human beings, about how we've all been injured or damaged in some way during our lifetime, often during those formative childhood years. I'm not blaming parenting here. Bringing up children is one of the most difficult tasks there is, and one for which we're not really prepared or trained in any way. Often, our only preparation is the way we were brought up ourselves. And our main parenting technique is often to not do what was done to us, although that doesn't necessarily mean that we know what to do instead. And despite our best efforts, we repeat our parents' errors and we create new ones of our own. So, along the way, we're damaged. Some of us wear visible injuries, but most of our injuries are invisible. They contribute significantly to our behaviour, for better or for worse. Now, I'm not mentioning this damage to excuse bad behaviour. I can't help myself, or I couldn't help myself, is a pretty feeble excuse, even if it's true. Of course, this touches on another topic that I've covered: personal freedom. Am I truly free if I can't help myself? Well, I think an argument could be made that freedom is precisely the expression of ourselves. If I act out of who I am, is that not, in fact, a possible definition of freedom? If I perform an act under duress or because someone else commands me or forces me to do it, then I think it's easy to recognize that that action is not fully free. If, on the other hand, I do something precisely because of who I am, is that not an act of freedom? Fair enough, I can't not be me, but isn't that just a recognition of identity? It's a strange definition of freedom to insist that it includes the capacity to be something other than what I am. Yes, I can become something that I was not previously, but it's the previous me that's doing the becoming. Perhaps when I am acting most fully as myself out of my very nature is when I am most fully free. Okay, I realise this won't be the last word or even my last word on the subject of personal freedom, but let's run with that for today. The fact that human beings sometimes act out of their own particular brokenness or injuries doesn't excuse behaviour. It doesn't diminish personal responsibility, but it does perhaps help us to understand it. Just as with some reflection and self awareness, it can help us to understand our own behaviour. So, this is not about judgment or punishment, but simply about understanding. I try to recognize where my own behavior arises, where it comes from. It arises, of course, out of me, parts of which are damaged. Recognizing that is the first step towards changing that behavior. That me can become the agent of its own change. It's a first step, but no one says it will be easy.